Hello everyone. This is the 5th Epical Revelation Fellowship. I'm Reverend Dr. Roger Paul, and this is my wife Diane Paul. And hello Christy and Whisper. And Millie is out there with us tonight. I don't know who else will be joining us, but let's say a little prayer and we'll get started. Would you like to pray, dear?
Amen.
All right.
Dearest Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for this opportunity to come together and to study and learn and grow through the revelation. We are so grateful to be here and help each of us to keep open minds and to let the words and the wisdom and the insight deepen our souls and our spirits so that we also may share with others. We thank you for this day. We thank you for each other and all our families and loved ones and friends. And we are so grateful. It is in your name, Jesus Christ, Michael, we pray. Amen.
Amen. Okay. We're going to start on paper 28, Ministering Spirits of the Superuniverses. And before we get started, and Millie, I know you don't see the slides at home while we're online, but on the slides, before the paper actually begins, the very last slide, and I believe it's slide number 10, there's 3 little charts. The primary Sakanafim, the tertiary Sakanafim, and the secondary Sakanafim. And these are all the angels that we're going to learn about in this paper. And let's get right into it, and then I have a little explanation to help everyone separate the different types of angels, and hopefully this will help keep this in your mind to do this. Okay, so let's start on the very first paragraph. Millie, would you like to start out for us tonight?
Yes, I can do that. Ministering spirits of the superuniverses. As the Superuniverse are the angelic host of the central universe, and the seraphim are the local universes, so are the Sakanafim the ministering spirits of the superuniverses. In degree of divinity and in potential of supremacy, however, these children of the reflective spirits are much more like Superunifim than seraphim. They serve not alone in the supercreation, and both numerous and intriguing are the transactions sponsored by their unrevealed associates.
Okay, so I'm going to give you all a little taste for how to keep track of these ministering spirits. Okay? Give me 1 second here. Okay, that's the first slide. Come on. Okay, let's think about this for a second. A few weeks ago, we studied about Superunifim, right? And the key to Superunifim is that it starts with super. Okay? Superunifim. It's like super angels. And they're the ones that take care of the central universe. The central universe includes both paradise and Havona, right? So when you think of a super angel, Superunifim, of course they're going to originate in paradise and take care of the super universe of Havona, right? Superunifim, right? Sakanafim.
Yes.
Sakanafim, what, is second fims, right? Sakanafim. Second angels. So they take care of the second level of the super universes. And what would that be? That would be the 7 super universes, wouldn't it? That surround Havona. Does that make sense? And that's why they're called Sakanafim. Alright? Now, the local universe, all the local individual planets are taken care of by what? Seraphim. It's a single, Seraphim. It's the beginning angels for us, right? So that's basically the 3 major types of angels, right? And we're going to see a slide here in a minute that's going to talk about some other things in the next slide that we're going to need to discuss. And let me go on to that next slide before we even talk about it. And this will help keep them separate, okay? In the same level as Sakanafim, not the Superunifim, not the seraphim, but the Sekanophim, the second level, right? We have what? Tertiaphim. Tertia means three, right? If you think of tertiaphim, you think of angels that are on the tri-level, or the third level. Second, Sekanophim, the third level would be omniphim, or tertiaphim, and the fourth would be what? Omniaphim. Now, the word omnia means all over, though, okay? And omniaphim are the types of angels that have specific jobs, and they're not concerned with progression of humans, our pathway, okay? That's why you can think of omniaphim as angels that take care of things outside our ascension plan, okay? Does that make sense? That'll help keep it a little bit clearer. Okay, so once you read that slide for me there.
As presented in these narratives, the ministering spirits of the superuniverses embrace the following three orders: the Sekanophim, 2, the Tertiaphim, 3, the Omniaphim.
Okay, and they are all have to do with what? The super universes. Not the central universe, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the super universe. Second level, right? Okay. And that's Sekanophim, Tertiaphim, and Omniaphim. And we're going to discover everything that they tell us about that tonight, if we get that far. Alright, get this here. Quick look, see if anybody else showed up. Okay. Since the latter two orders are not so directly concerned with the ascendant scheme of mortal progression, they will be briefly discussed prior to the more extended consideration of Sekanophim. Technically, neither Tertiaphim, that's the third level, right, or Omniaphim, all over, are ministering spirits of the superuniverses, though both serve as spirit ministers in these domains. You see that? Okay, so they serve as minister in these domains, but they're not directly concerned with what? Our mortal progression up to the universes. So that's why they don't discuss them at such great length as they do the others, right? All right. Okay. Tertiaphim. Millie, would you take that?
1. The Tertiaphim. These high angels are of record on the superuniverse headquarters, and despite service in the local creations, technically they are residents of these superuniverse capitals, inasmuch as they are not native to the local universes. Tertiaphim are children of the infinite spirit and are personalized on paradise in groups of 1,000. These supernal beings of divine originality and near supreme versatility are the gift of the infinite spirit to the creator sons of God.
Okay, so they're created in groups of 1,000, right? And they basically help out the creator sons, okay? They're not directly related to our progression plan, are they? They help him out, and we're going to learn about that in just a second. And they are the direct children of the infinite spirit. Now this is important because as we go through these different levels, they're going to tell where these different groups of angels originate. And if you listen to where they originate, it gives you a pretty good idea of how they fit into the order of things, okay? So basically, Tertiaphim are created in groups of 1,000, and they're created by the infinite spirit, and they are what? They are gifts to the creator sons. Did you catch that? They're created for the purpose of helping out the creator sons when they first start out, and then they move on to other work a little bit later on, and that's what this picture up here behind us is about. That's on slide 15. And for y'all at home, if you don't know what I'm talking about, these slides, out on our website, if you go to study note slides, there's a page with all the slides we have for every page of paper we've covered. And tonight's will be paper 28, and you can download that on these slides on that page or underneath the video for tonight, either one, and next week probably, because we won't get through this tonight. Okay.
When a Michael son is detached from the perennial regime of paradise and is made ready to go forth on the universe adventurous space, the infinite spirit is delivered of a group of 1,000 of these companion spirits. And these majestic tertiaphim accompany this creator son when he embarks upon the adventure of universe organization.
So they're his helpmates, aren't they? As he's organized his universe. And who else would be there with him as he's doing this? The local universe mother spirit, right? Okay, because she's active in this too. And let me advance this one over here so people can see this. All right, this is a slide of the creative mother spirit, the creator son, and this is supposed to represent the 1,000 tertiaphim that the infinite spirit has given to the creator son to help him during the organization of his superuniverse. Okay? That's what that slide's about. That's slide 17. Okay. There we go. All right. Throughout the early times of universe building, these 1,000 tertiaphim are the only personal staff of a creator son. They acquire a mighty experience as son assistants during the stirring ages of universe assembling and other astronomical manipulations. They serve by the side of the creator son until the day of the personalization of the bright and morning star, the firstborn of a local universe. And ours is who? Gabriel, right? Thereupon, the formal resignations of the tertiaphim are tended and accepted, and with the appearance of the initial orders of native angelic life, they retire from active service in the local universe and become the liaison ministers between the creator son of former attachment and the ancients of days of the superuniverse concerned. So, let's think about this for a minute. When Michael was creating the universe, these tertiaphim were assigned to him to help him out until he created Gabriel, the bright morning star, the first angel that he created with whom? The local universe mother spirit. Okay, and at that point, they're released, well, slowly released as more of these angelic beings are created, are slowly released from service, and then at that point they are the liaison officers, if you will, between Michael and the Ancients of Days. So they're like the highest order of angel going between Michael and the Ancients of Days. You follow me? Okay, and that's what their job is. Bear with me tonight, I'm having nice problems again.
You're just circling. I've just got a blank screen with circle.
That's all right. You can listen, right?
We can see your picture very clearly.
We can see you very clearly tonight. Actually, you could turn your video on if you want to, Billy.
I don't think so.
No? Okay.
Are you in your pajamas?
Yes.
All right, that's okay. Okay. And the next picture after this, right before the Omniaphim, is a picture of the universe mother spirit with Michael and Gabriel and the tertiaphim preparing to populate the angelic core of the world, right? Okay. All right. The Omniaphim.
2. The Omniaphim. Omniaphim are created by the Infinite Spirit in liaison with the 7 Supreme Executives, and they are the exclusive servants and messengers of these same Supreme Executives. Omniaphim are of grand universe assignment, and in Orbanton, their core maintains headquarters in the northerly parts of Uversa, where they reside as a special courtesy colony. They are not of registry on Uversa, nor are they attached to our administration. Neither are they directly concerned with the ascendant scheme of moral progression.
Okay, so let's go back to their name, Omnia, right? They're all over this local universe, right? And they're created by the 7 supreme executives. So they are the agents of the 7 supreme executives. Now, where are these 7 supreme executives? They're where?
And the 7 super universes.
On the 7 super universes. That's right. And what they do, what these angels do, is they take care of messages or anything that these 7 executives on all 7 of the super universes, right, need anything done. This is their own corps of angels, right? And that may be why they're called Omniafem, because they take care of all matters, all sorts of matters of universe organization that the 7 supreme executives want taken care of, right? So they do a lot of different function, but again, they're not associated with our mortal progression. This is more the administration of the super universe, right?
But they're created with the assistance of the Infinite Spirit, not just the 7 supreme executives.
That's right.
The Infinite Spirit has her finger in there too.
That's right. They are. So it's the combination of both of them, isn't it, Millie? Right?
Yes.
And there's a picture of this on the wall here behind me, and this is slide 21, and it shows a picture of the 7 supreme executives and the Infinite Spirit and the Omniafem that's created by them. Okay? And you'll notice they don't talk a whole lot about the Tertiafem or the Omniafem, do they? Just enough to give us basic information on them, okay?
The Omniafem are wholly occupied with the oversight of the super universes in the interest of administrative coordination from the viewpoint of the 7 supreme executives. Our colony of Omniafem on Uversa receives instructions from and makes reports to only the supreme executive of Orvanton, situated on conjoint executive sphere number 7 in the outer ring of paradise satellites.
You got that? Okay, so this supreme executive is situated on the outer ring of the paradise satellites, right? And where would this Omniafem go? He would go from there to the capital of our local universe. And the same way with capital of our super universe. And it would be the same on all 7 of the super universes, right? So these Omniafem would travel from the satellite off of Paradise out to the capital of Uversa, right? Relay messages, take care of administrative tasks, things like that, okay? And that's the job of the Omniafem. Okay, and now we get into the fun stuff. Sakanafem. Change this slide. Change this one. 1 second. Okay, the Sakanafem. The Sakharaphic hosts are produced by the 7 reflective spirits assigned to the headquarters of each super universe. There is a definite paradise responsive technique associated with the creation of these angels in groups of 7. And each 7, there are always 1 primary, 3 secondary, and 3 tertiary Sakanafem. They always personalize in these exact proportions. 7, right? When 7 such Sakanafem are created, 1, the primary, becomes attached to the service of the Ancients of Days. The 3 secondary angels are associated with 3 groups of paradise origin administrators in the super governments, the divine counselors, the perfecters of wisdom, and the universal censors. The 3 tertiary angels are attached to the ascended trinitized associates of the super universe rulers, the mighty messengers, those high in authority, and those without name and number. Okay, so before we get off this slide, I want to point us something out in a couple slides. And Millie, I know you can't see this, but I still want to go through it for the people at home. On slide 23, it shows a picture of the 7 groups of the 7 create reflected spirits and the 7 Sekanophim that are created from each reflective spirit. Okay? And the first one is what? Is the primary, the next 2 are the secondary, and the next 3 are the secondary, and the next 3 after that are the tertiary. Now these should not be confused with Sekanophim or Tertiaphim and Omniaphim. You see the difference? That's easy to do. People do this all the time. These are primary, secondary, and tertiary Sekanophim. They are not Tertiaphim and Omniaphim. That's a different type of angel. Did I lose anybody on that? You still with me, Millie?
Sort of.
Okay. And this will make a little more sense as we go down and learn through those. Now, I want to go ahead another slide on the wall here, and it's going to show another picture. And this will make better sense to the people at home when they watch this on the video. This next slide actually shows a picture of the 7 reflective spirits that create the Sekanophim. Okay? No, you can't chase this. And you'll notice here on the slide, when you watch this later at home, you'll be able to see this, Millie. The primary Sekanophim are assigned to the Ancients of Days. The secondary Sekanophim are assigned to the Divine Counselors. You see that? The Perfecters of Wisdom and the Universal Censors. See that? Okay. The tertiary Sekanophim are assigned to Mighty Messengers, those high in authority, and those without name and number. Now the reason I want to point this out specifically, this 3 group, the Mighty Messengers, those high in authority, and those without names and numbers, are ascending mortals. Okay? That's why this becomes very important. These tertiary Sekanophim are assigned to these beings that's gone the pathway that we go, and if we trinitize or become finaliters, we can become part of this process. You see that? You see the importance of learning this? Okay, so these tertiary Sekanophim may be working with one of us later on. Isn't that interesting? Okay? And this is part of our hierarchy of angels.
How do you get to be high in authority when you're just an ascending mortal?
Well, this is millions and millions and millions of years from now, Millie, when we get up and we're ready to become finaliters. Okay? You earn your way up there as you earn trust. Now, you can't give up on me. I got a cat going crazy here. He's trying to
chase the red light.
Chase the red light. That's right. Okay, so let me get to the right slide over here. Okay. Who's that next? Millie, would you take the next paragraph?
These Sekanophim of the superuniverses are the offspring of the reflective spirits, and therefore reflectivity is inherent in their nature. They are reflectively responsive to all of each phase of every creature of origin in the third source and center and the paradise creator zones, but they are not directly reflective of the beings and entities, personal or otherwise, of subtle origin in the first source and center. We possess many evidences of the actuality of the universal intelligence circuits of the infinite spirit, but even if we had no other proof, the reflective performances of the Sekanophim would be quite sufficient to demonstrate the reality of the universal presence of the infinite mind of the conjoint actor.
Okay, this particular paragraph I want to break down a little bit because it's got some real important stuff in it. Okay, first, the Sekanophim, these Sekanophim are the offspring of the reflective spirit. What does that mean? That means that they have reflectivity in their nature already, okay? But this reflectivity is limited, all right? It finds its origin in what? The infinite spirit, the third source and center, and in the creator sons. But it says here they are not directly reflective of the beings and entities, personal or otherwise, of soul origin and the first source and center. In other words, these reflectivity beings, the Sekanophim, do not reflect directly information straight from paradise. Now, do they? They have to go through other beings to do this. And who would that be? That would be Majeston and that sort of thing, right? Okay, so they don't originate this reflectivity from themselves. Okay, but it's interesting. They go on to say that if just because they have reflectivity and they reflect things back to the infinite spirit, just this performance of the Sekanophim demonstrates that the infinite spirit knows what's going on throughout all the universe all the time, just because of this reflectivity, right? From whom? The creator sons. This reflectivity is not used by all beings. It's only used by a certain assigned being, probably the head of the Sekanophim up through the paradise angels, right? And the creator sons, and whom else? The local universe creative mother spirit. Right?
It's difficult to comprehend what reflectivity is.
It's kind of like a telephone system with pictures, really, and it gives a opportunity for these beings to instantly reflect information from the farthest parts of the universe instantly back to paradise or back to the local universe headquarters, right? So this allows the Ancients of Days to know exactly what's going on throughout all the universe all the time. Make sense? And they see it just as if they were personally there. That's what's interesting. All right. Let's keep going here. Okay, the primary Sekanophim.
4. The primary Sekanophim. The primary Sekanophim of assignment to the Ancient of Days are living mirrors in the service of these triune rulers. Think what it means in the economy of a super-universe to be able to turn, as it were, to a living mirror, and therein to see and therewith to hear the certain responses of another being 1,000 or 100,000 light years distant, and to do all this instantly and unerringly. Records are essential to the conduct of the universes. Broadcasts are serviceable. The work of the solitary and other messengers is very helpful, but the Ancients of Days, from their position midway between the inhabited worlds and paradise, between man and God, can instantly look both ways, hear both ways, and know both ways.
Okay, so it's different than the broadcast. The broadcast circuits relay information out to the 7 super universes, right? Or back, right? They can show what's going on. But reflectivity allows the Ancients of Days to look and both hear and see both all the way to paradise and all the way out to the individual worlds instantly, right? So it's really a great administrative tool if you think about it. So if rebellion breaks out, they know of it immediately, right? Through reflectivity. Or if it ends, they know of it immediately through reflectivity, right? Okay?
But they have to ask to be shown.
That's right. They have.
It's not just automatic that they're seeing everything all the time.
That's right. They have to ask to be shown. All they have to do, they have this primary Sekanophim is assigned to them, Billy. So this primary Sekanophim is always at their bid and call. Now, you're going to find out here in just a second that in order for the Ancients of Days to use this service, all 3 of the Ancients of Days have to be present. They can't see it with just one. All 3 of them always have to be present to use the service of this primary Sekanophim.
Aren't they all three always together?
No, not necessarily. I mean, they probably have breaks and things and rest periods, just like all beings do. But as soon as something comes up, they immediately reconvene together.
Kind of like the Supreme Court.
Kind of like a Supreme Court. That's right. That's right. Okay. The next slide I have on here is slide 28, and it breaks down the secondary Sakanafem, or the Sakanafem. Okay, and we're gonna the primary Sakanafem. I'm sorry. And all the other types. So we're going to go through each one of these one at a time. Okay? Let me move on here to the next one. I'm taking my time getting through this tonight, y'all, because this can be really confusing if you don't take it slowly and understand it. Okay? All right, so this ability to hear and see as it were all things can be perfectly realized in the superuniverses only by the Ancients of Days, and only by their respective only on their respective headquarter worlds. Even their limits are encountered from Uversa. Such communications is limited to the worlds and universes of Urvanton. And while inoperative between the superuniverses, this same reflective technique keeps each one of them in close touch with the central universe and with paradise. The 7 super governments, though individually segregated, are thus perfectly reflective of the authority above and are wholly sympathetic, as well as perfectly conversant with the needs below. Now think about this. What this paragraph tells us is not only all 3 have to be there, as I said before, but they are segregated by super universes. So the super universe of Urvanton can only see and hear talk up to paradise in the super universe of Urvanton. So the other super universes are just exactly the same way. So if you think of the 7 super universes, they're like 7 pieces of pie, aren't they? And if you think about it that way, the 7 pieces of pie cannot communicate through reflectivity to each, can they? They have to go through paradise to relay any message to any other super universe. It's like a clearinghouse, right? Now, why would you think it would be that way? Because it's up to the administration of God and the Trinity to determine what information flows from each super universe to each super universe. Now, why would this be important for new universes that's growing up? Think about this.
To prevent rebellion from spreading.
You got that right. You hit it right on the head. If a one super universe, a large portion of it goes into rebellion, it will not affect the other super universes. Does that make sense? So that's, it's like a security measure for all the other universes, because we've already learned that whatever things one person in a family does, it affects everybody in the family. So this is a way of preventing these issues that crop up to go from one member of a family, of our super universe family, to another. Does that make sense? Okay. Millie, would you take the next one?
The primary Sakanafem are found to incline by inherent nature towards 7 types of service, and it is befitting that the first serials of this order should be so endowed as inherently to interpret the mind of the spirit to the Ancients of Days.
Okay. And we're going to go through these 7 here. Let's go one more slide here. We'll go through the 7 types of service here. All right. These are the 7 types of Sakanafem, right? The primary Sakanafem. All right, here we go.
1. The voice of the conjoint actor. In each super universe, the first primary Sakanafem, and every 7th one of that order, subsequently created, exhibit a high order of adaptability for understanding and interpreting the mind of the infinite spirit to the Ancients of Days and their associates in the super governments. This is of great value on the headquarters of the super universes, for Unlike the local creations with their divine ministers, the seat of a super government does not have a specialized personalization of the infinite spirit. Hence, these Sycophantic voices come the nearest to being the personal representatives of a third source and center on such a capital sphere. True, the 7 reflective spirits are there, but these mothers of the Sycophantic host are less truly and automatically reflective of the conjoint actor than of the 7 master spirits.
Okay, this is another one of those paragraphs that need to be broken down. Y'all bear with me, okay? You notice here it says the first primary Sycophanth and every 7th one in that order subsequently created, okay? So, there's 7 primary Sycophanth, right? And the first one that's born, and every first one that's born in every group of 7 is a voice of the conjoint actor. Does that make sense? It's
Yes.
7 times 7. So every time they're created in groups of 7, the first one out of that group becomes the voice of this conjoint actor, right? And that's where this chart comes in. The second one becomes the voice of the 7 master spirits. The third one becomes the voice of the creator sons. The fourth one becomes the voice of the angelic hosts. The fifth one becomes the broadcast receivers. The 6th one becomes transport personalities. And the 7th one is in the reserve corps. So every 7 of them have 7 jobs, right? And that's how they're created. Does that make sense? Okay, so that kind of clears it up a little bit. Okay. All right, so let's go on and break down this paragraph a little bit more. And it goes on to tell us that unlike the local creations with their divine ministers, who are we talking about there? The local universe mother spirit, right? So outside the local universe, there is no local universe mother spirit, is there? So they don't have that. So it's the seat of the super government. So they have these specialized personalizations of the infinite spirit. And who are these? That's these 7 Sycophanth. Does that make sense? Because there's no mother spirit there for them. Okay, so it makes perfect sense. Okay, hence these Sycophantic voices become the nearest to being the personal representatives of the third source and center on the capital spheres, right? So if you think about it this way, in the local universes we have creative mother spirits. And on the capital spheres we have these ministering spirits that help with the organization of the capitals. Does that make sense?
That's interesting.
Okay. And it goes on to say that these 7 reflective spirits are there, but these mothers of the seraphic host are truly and automatically reflective of the conjoint actor, less truly and automatically reflective of the conjoint actor than the 7 master spirits. Okay? So it's a downstepping, isn't it? From one level to another. Okay? Let's go on to the second primary Sycophanth. Okay? Am I up? 2. The voice of the 7 master spirits. The second primary Sycophanth and every 7th one thereafter created, we understand that now, don't we? Okay? Created inclines towards portraying the collective natures and reactions of the 7 master spirits. Though each master spirit is already represented on the superuniverse capital by one of the 7 reflective spirits of assignment, such representation is individual, not collective. So it's for each individual of the 7 master spirits. Collectively, they are only reflectively present. Therefore, do the master spirits welcome these services of these highly personal angels, the second serials of the primary Sycophanth, who are so competent to represent them before the Ancients of Days. So these are the angels that represent the 7 master spirits to the Ancients of Days. Does that make sense? They're like what would you call a liaison between the seven master spirits and the Ancients of Days. I bet I did go forward here. Okay. The next one.
3. The voice of the Creator Sons. The infinite spirit must have had something to do with the creation or training of the Paradise Sons of the Order of Michael. For the third primary Sekanophim and every seventh serial thereafter possess the remarkable gift of being reflective of the minds of these Creator Sons. If the Ancients of Days would like to know, really know, the attitude of Michael of Nebadon regarding some matter under consideration, they do not have to call him on the line of space. They need only to call for the chief of Nebadon voices, who upon request will present the Michael Sekanophim of record, and right then, there the Ancients of Days will perceive the voice of the Master Son of Nebadon.
So the third one is the voice of the Creator Son, isn't it? Okay? And I want to bring something up here. They slip something in here on us that they don't even mention anywhere else, and that is this. The chief of the Nebadon voices. Did you see that? Mm-hmm. So in Nebadon, we have a being that is responsible for all these requests, right? It's like the clearinghouse of requests, and then it's up to him or her to contact the what? The Michael Sekanophim of record, you know, which is one of these beings, right? And then and there, the Ancients of Days will hear the voice of Michael, right in front of them. But what an amazing thing if you think about it.
The chief of the Nebadon voices, he's not just chief of the Creator Son voice, the voice of seven spirits, the voice of the conjoined. Now he's chief of all of these voices?
He's chief only of the ones in Nebadon, Michael's voices. Only in Nebadon. Not any of the other local universes or anything. Only Michael's domain. That's the only one. Okay? So anything having to do with Michael and Michael's domain, our Michael, then they would contact this chief of Nebadon voices.
So is that like a recording then? I mean, so it's a recorded voice of everything that...
It could be a recorded voice, or it could be a direct communication from Michael at that particular time that's reflected through this angel to the Ancients of Days. Okay. So and that's why they said in that paragraph, you know, they didn't have to call him on the lines of space, you know, like a telephone, because they have these angels. They immediately see him. They see him and hear his voice at the same time. Okay.
Well, what other voices does Nebadon have?
I don't know. Well, there may be. They don't tell us any others, but let's just assume there may be a voice of the local universe mother spirit.
Would that be considered a circuit, or
yeah,
like a wavelength, or
yeah, maybe. I don't know. Yeah. But that's the only one that's now. Remember, though, we just read a few minutes ago. The only beings that can use this reflective service is from Paradise down and the Creator Sons up. Not just any being can use these reflective spirits, right? Except with the expect of what? The seraphic orders, the head of the seraphim here on this planet. They are allowed to use that. This is that spiritual circuit we were talking about, the angelic circuit that we were talking about that I believe was not cut off when all the other circuits were, right? Because of the rebellion, because they still had to communicate. All right. I think so.
No other order of sonship is thus reflectable, and no other order of angel can thus function. We do not fully understand just how this is accomplished, and I doubt very much that the Creator Sons themselves fully understand it. But of a certainty we know it works, and that it unfailingly works acceptably we also know. For in all the history of Uversa, the seraphic voices have never erred in their presentation.
So only the Creator Sons can use this service, right? The voice of the Creator Sons, right? Okay. You are here. I'm getting feedback. Millie, I'm getting feedback from you for some reason. Have you got your earphones on? Millie?
I bet she's up for
I bet she steps in the ticker. All right. You are here beginning to see the something of the matter in which divinity encompasses the space of time and the masters the time of space. You are here obtaining one of your first fleeting glimpses of the technique of the eternity cycle, divergent from the moment to assist the children of time in their task of mastering the difficult handicaps of space. And these phenomena are additionally to the established universe techniques of the reflective spirits. Okay, so they're telling us here we're beginning to see the little entities that make all this possible, aren't we? Little bit at a time. All right. Millie, you there?
Yes.
Okay. Would you take the next one, though apparently deprived?
Though apparently deprived of the personal presence of the master spirits above and of the creator sons below, the ancients of days have their command living beings attuned to cosmic mechanisms of reflective perfection and ultimate precision, whereby they may enjoy the reflective presence of all those exalted beings whose personal presence is denied them. By and through these means, and others unknown to you, God is potentially present on the headquarters of the superuniverses.
So we can see why the ancients of days can't leave Uversa, can't we? You know, they're not allowed to travel outside the capital of the local universe because their responsibilities are so great, right? And by using this reflective system, they don't have to, do they? They see what God wants them to see, and they see what the Creator Son wants them to see at the same time. They see above, they see below, right? Okay.
The ancients of days perfectly deduce the Father's will by equating the spirit voice flash from above and the micro voice flashes from below. Thus may they be unerringly certain in calculating the Father's will concerning the administrative affairs of the local universes. But to deduce the will of one of the gods from a knowledge of the other two, the three ancients of days must act together. Two would not be able to achieve the answer, and for this reason, even were there no others, the superuniverses are always presided over by three ancients of days, and not by one or even two.
So we see it right there, don't we? There has to be three present for them to use this system and use this wonderful reflectivity process that is set up for them, right? All right, the next one is the voice of the angelic host, okay? All right, number 4, the voice of the angelic host, the fourth primary Sakanathim, and every seventh serial proved to the angels peculiarly responsive to the sentiments of all orders of angels, including the Superuniverse from above and the Seraphim below. Thus, the attitude of any commanding or supervising angel is immediately available for consideration at any council of the ancients of days. Never a day passes on your world that the chief of Seraphim on Urantia is not made conscious of the phenomena of reflective transference, of being drawn upon from Uversa for some purpose, but unless forewarned by a solitary messenger, she remains wholly ignorant of what is sought and how it is secured. These ministering spirits of time are constantly furnished this sort of unconscious and certainly therefore unprejudiced testimony concerning their endless array of matters engaged the attention and the counsel of the ancients of days and associates. Okay, so think about this. Each one of these little paragraphs is just full of knowledge. It really is. So we're talking about this information can be drawn from by these angels, right? The angels of angelic host, from above from the Superuniverse, and from below from the seraphim, right? And it's interesting here that these ministering spirits, talking about the seraphim on this planet, that says not a day goes by that some sort of information is not drawn from them. And they don't even know at time, consciously, that this information is being drawn from them unless they are told in advance by a solitary messenger. Okay? So the Ancients of Days can do this without prejudice from that particular angel of their opinion of it. They see what happens without their opinion. Does that make sense? So they can get information from above and information from below at the same time from these voice of the angelic host. You see the importance of these primary Sakanathim? You know, each one of them had a specific job. All right. It just amazes me when I read this chapter or this paper, because it's got so much information about in it. Okay. Millie, would you take the next one, the broadcast?
Yeah, I'm still thinking about this chief of seraphim has information taken from them.
Right.
Even without their knowledge, so it won't be prejudiced.
That's right.
Would the chief of seraphim be prejudiced?
Well, they might. You know, when you get assigned to a planet, you got to remember, seraphim are not that much higher than we are. Okay, they're much like us. So they're going to develop their own opinions about what's happening around them and their reaction to what's happening around them. And of course they want only the best for the planet all the time, because by them succeeding in their influences, we succeed, and that's what they're supposed to be doing. They learn, we learn, so it would be good for them and good for us. Now, they would probably be prejudiced in the fact that they only want the best, and so they would probably have a tendency to look at our world with what? Rose-colored glasses.
Oh, no.
Right? Just like we do sometimes, because they want only the best for the planet. So by doing this, the Ancients of Days get the raw information as it's really happening. So they don't have the opinion of the angel, only the events of what's happening. Does that make sense? I mean,
Yes, I guess it does.
It's an amazing system. It really is, if you think about it. Okay, the broadcast receivers.
Broadcast receivers. There is a special class of broadcast messengers which are received only by the primary Sakanathim. While they are not the regular broadcasters of Uversa, they work in liaison with the angels of the reflective voices for the purpose of synchronizing the reflective vision of the Ancients of Days with certain actual messages coming in over the established circuits of universe communication. Whoa! Broadcast receivers are the fifth serial, the fifth primary Sakanathim to be created, and every seventh one thereafter.
Okay, so what are we talking about here? There's a universal broadcast outside the system of reflectivity, right? So we're not talking about the reflective circuit, are we? We're talking about the universal broadcast. And that is the one that we were cut off from, wasn't it? When we went into rebellion. And we're still cut off from these broadcasts. Okay? So these angels monitor these broadcasts and keep the Ancients of Days up to sync on what is going on in these messages. Okay? And then been broadcast out through all of our universe. Okay? Now these are more along the line of what kind of beings? These are more along the lines of support type beings, right? We're talking about Lanonadek sons, Verandadek sons, planetary princes, things like that. Yeah, they'll get messages from these broadcasters, and they'll probably send them back. Of course, we've been cut off, so nothing comes from this planet. Only thing that's broadcast from this planet is what? The thing we just talked about, right? The voices of the angelic hosts. You see why that's important? Because our broadcasts have been cut off. They have to get their information from the voice of the angelic hosts, don't they? Because we have no broadcast. So what these broadcast receivers do is they take broadcast from all over Nebadon and reflect it back to the Ancients of Days, right? So the Ancients of Days are always up to date on everything that's going on, not only in the angelic field, but outside the angelic field, right? That makes sense? Right. Transport personalities.
6. Transport personalities. These are the Sakonafim who carry the pilgrims of time from the headquarters worlds of the super-universes to the outer circle of Havona. They are the transport core of the super-universes, operating inward to paradise and outward to the worlds of their respective sectors. This core is composed of the 6 primary Sakonafim, and every 7th one subsequently created.
Okay, so we're talking about transport angels, aren't we? These are the ones that, in this case, in Sakonafim you, not in Seraphim you. There's a difference. Okay? They in Sakonafim you. In other words, you are brought inside this angel, your being, and transported from where? The headquarters worlds of the super universes to the outer circle of Havona. You follow me? And they also transport any beings that need to go downward to the worlds, okay, from the headquarters. Now, this is not the same kind of transport angel that takes our souls from planet to planet, is it? We'll study that later, okay? But this is their job. These are the ones that when you get to the headquarters of the super universe and you're ready to go on to the next step, to the first world circuit of Havona, it'll be one of these angels, these Sakonafim, that will in Sakonafim you, right? All right. The Reserve Corps. A very large group of Sakonafim, the 7th primary serials, are held in reserve for the unclassified duties and the emergency assignments of the realms. Not being highly specialized, they can function fairly well in any of the capacity of their diverse associates. But such specialized work is undertaken only in emergencies. Their usual tasks are the performance of those generalized duties of the super universe which do not fall within the scope of the angels of specific assignment. Okay, so think about this. The 7th angel of each of these groups is in the reserve, right? And he can do any of the jobs of any of these 7, or any of the other 6, right? He's a floater. That's right. He can also do emergency jobs in place of any of these other angels, right? So he's always available to take up those emergencies, or if one of these of the serial order have to be in another place or another time, one can step in and take his place for him. Okay, they're trained for doing generalized work like that, so they can cover. They're what you would call in a restaurant a spotter. They can take up when nobody else is there. They can take up that job and go ahead and do it. You would call these the cross-trained angels, right? Okay, let me check this up here too.
I don't have a clock. Do we have time to do the whole of the secondary Sakonafim?
I don't believe we do, Millie. Do we want to stop here tonight and take this?
Yeah, because that's 4 more pages.
Yeah. Let's stop here and take this up next week. Starting
This was
in
good. This was
secondary
good.
Sakonafim. And that way we won't get confused. It'll give everybody a chance to read through it and mull over it, so that when we go into secondary Sakonafim, we talked about tonight all primary Sakonafim, right? And we go into the secondary Sakonafim, we're going to change classes, right? Okay, so that will make perfect sense. Let's say a little prayer, and we will close off for tonight and take it up next week. Father, we want to thank you for this time together and this wonderful, wonderful paper tonight. We just praise you, Lord, that you'll have blessed us with this revelation and blessed us with the opportunity to learn these things on this world to prepare us for the mansion worlds. And we want to thank you for these people that join us and these people that watch at home. And We pray that you'll increase the flock. We've dwindled down in numbers again, and we would like to see more people join us on Wednesday night so that we might share this with them too. We want to thank you and we praise you for the many blessings of our days and many blessings for our family and friends, and showing us the way and helping us learn this wonderful revelation. Lord, we love you, and we love our Creator Son and Creative Mother Spirit, and we feel blessed that we have each of these. And we thank you and we give you the praise. In your Son's Jesus' name, amen.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us. Please come see us again. Stop the recording.